She had been born under a red sky that never softened. The planet Kerax did not forgive mistakes. Its gravity crushed the careless, its atmosphere poisoned the slow, and its wildlife treated intelligence as just another flavor of prey. The Council classified it as a death world long before her species ever learned the word for mercy. Survival was not culture on Kerax. It was instinct, muscle memory, and scar tissue. Viral had survived 32 cycles. That alone made her dangerous. She stood on the observation deck of the Coalition cruiser Silent Accord, claws folded behind her back, tail wrapped tight against her thigh in a posture that meant restraint. Through the wide viewport, stars stretched like frozen shrapnel. Hyperspace had ended an hour ago, and the ship now drifted near the edge of neutral territory. The crew avoided her. They tried not to, but fear leaked through discipline the way radiation leaked through thin shielding. Viral could smell it on them, sharp and sour even through the recycled air. She was taller than most species aboard, heavier too. Dense bone structure, reinforced tendons, redundant organs. Every medical scan reminded the doctors that her body was built to endure impacts that would pulp softer beings. Deathworlder. The word was never spoken aloud in her presence. It did not need to be. She had learned early that in the wider galaxy, Deathworlder meant problem. It meant unpredictable violence, evolutionary brutality, and a history of extinction-level resilience that made civilized species nervous. The Coalition allowed a handful of Deathworlders into mixed crews for research purposes, diplomatic theater, or as quiet warnings to hostile powers. Viral was here because she spoke well, killed cleanly, and followed orders. Mostly. The chime at the hatch broke her thoughts. She turned as the door slid open and Commander Thesic entered, his thin frame encased in the flowing robes of his species. His eyes blinked sideways, a gesture of unease. The docking clamps locked with a muted thud that vibrated through the outpost's frame. Viral felt it through the floor, through her bones. Instinct urged her to brace, to prepare for breach or betrayal. Nothing happened. No alarms. No decompression. Just the quiet hum of two structures agreeing not to drift apart. The human ship was smaller up close. Its hull bore scars, some patched, some simply painted over. Not pristine. Used. Loved, perhaps. On Kerax, anything that survived long enough to show wear was respected. The Coalition observers argued behind sealed partitions. Protocols were being debated, amended, discarded. Viral tuned them out. Her attention fixed on the airlock feed. The Artemis crew waited patiently. No weapons visible. No combat stance. One of them leaned against the bulkhead, helmet under his arm, posture loose. Loose, but ready. That readiness was familiar. The inner airlock cycled. Pressure equalized. With a soft hiss, the door slid open. They stepped through. 4 humans. 2 male, 2 female, if her quick assessment was correct. Average height compared to Coalition norms. Average mass. But their center of gravity was low, balanced. Every movement economical. Even relaxed, they were coiled. The one in front raised an open hand. "Hi," he said. "I'm Daniel. Captain, I guess. You folks don't really do nameplates." His voice was calm. Curious. Not afraid. Viral stepped forward before the observers could stop her. She felt their panic spike as she entered the chamber alone. "I am Viral of Kerax," she said. "Envoy class." Daniel's eyes flicked over her frame. The claws. The dense musculature. The scars that even regeneration had not erased. His pupils widened a fraction, then settled. "Cool," he said. "Nice to meet you." "Nice." One of the humans behind him whispered, not quietly enough, "Told you they'd be metal." Viral tilted her head. "Metal?" Daniel coughed. "Compliment." Means impressive. She considered that, then inclined her head in ret. The coalition response was swift, loud, and deeply confused. 3 diplomatic channels opened at once. Automated warnings layered over one another. Demands were issued, retracted, then reissued with softer language. Vero let them chatter while she watched the humans secure their ship with calm efficiency. No victory dances. No raised voices. Survivors didn't celebrate until they were certain the danger was gone. Daniel floated beside her in the observation chamber, tether boots locked to the deck. "You good?" "Yes," she said. "You?" He shrugged. "Been worse." That answer settled something inside her. The coalition finally organized itself enough to send a single, unified message. Thesic appeared on the main display, his frills flushed with stress colors. "What you have done," he began, "is unprecedented." Viral folded her arms. "You attempted to fire on an unarmed exploration vessel. They are an unknown variable." "So was I," she said. "You still recruited me." Thesic's gaze flicked to Daniel, then back. "They interfered with coalition military assets. They defended themselves," Daniel said mildly. "We do that." The translator rendered his tone perfectly. "Matter of fact. No apology." Thesic inhaled. "The Council will not tolerate uncontrolled Deathworlder expansion." Silence followed. Viral felt the word hit the humans like a stone dropped into still water. Ripples of emotion moved through them. Not anger first. Calculation. Daniel leaned forward. "Say that again." "You are a high-risk species," Thesic said. "Historically, Deathworlders destabilize multi-species systems." Daniel nodded slowly. "Yeah. That tracks. We've been destabilizing systems since we figured out fire." Viral's lips twitched despite herself. "But here's the thing," Daniel continued. "You didn't find us. We found you. And we did it by accident. That landed." "You're not dealing with an invasion," he said. "You're dealing with a neighbor who just realized there's a homeowners association." The station was quiet except for the hum of life support systems. Viral moved along the observation deck, tail brushing the floor in a slow arc. Her thoughts were tangled, the first time in cycles she allowed herself to consider the possibility of something beyond survival. The humans joined her. Daniel first, then the others. They stood at her side, shoulders relaxed, eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear. "You ever think about going home?" Daniel asked. Viral blinked. Home was a concept weighted with corpses, clawed predators, collapsing shelters. Karax was still her anchor, but the idea of it now felt like memory rather than inevitability. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But I am allowed to choose now." "Good choice," the dark-haired woman said. "We had a few dozen species try to contain us. Didn't work. You just need someone who can understand the rules." Viral glanced at them. Understanding. It was different from survival. It was rare. Precious. Then the alarms flared. Not an attack, not this time. A distant solar flare had knocked out part of the station's shielding. Humans and delegates scrambled to stabilize systems. Viral acted instinctively, coordinating repairs, rerouting power, and advising on structural weaknesses. The humans adapted instantly, mirroring her movements. When it was done, silence fell again. Daniel wiped sweat from his brow. "Not bad for a first day, huh?" Viral considered it. Not just for them, but for herself. She had survived Karax, the coalition, and isolation. She had faced death repeatedly. Yet here, now, she felt something new, connection. The humans looked at her with something almost alien. Trust. Respect. Something she had never given, or received, in her lifetime. "Why us?" she asked finally. Because, Daniel said, voice soft, we can survive together. That's what Deathworlders do. Not just endure. They adapt, learn, and fight for more than themselves. We see that in you. Her pulse thrummed at the recognition. It was Alangu.